Okay, that's just happening with you. I need to at least set everything up. What? Oh no, don't do that. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Come on. There we go. There we go. No, you know that's not what I'm looking for. Are you for real right now? Why do I have to... to sign in? Are you serious right now? Jeez, let me see. How? Jeez. There we go. Gotta sign into my own account again. Good Lord, how do I keep getting signed out? I'm not even logging off the channel. I never log off my accounts here. Yet here I am, logging... Yes, you know... it don't even matter. It's a Wednesday. Things have been chaotic already. Let's add to the chaos before we actually get into the conversation, I guess. My God, what a Wednesday. What a Wednesday. Like, you really got to think about this, man. What a Wednesday. Oh, my God. Wow. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Yep. Yep, we can add that here, too. Look at this. Alright, got the rest of this here. This is so crazy. What? Really? All right. This is going to be a lot. I was supposed to do a Q&A today. It was supposed to be a simple day of a Q&A. You know, you're going to ask me questions about the Ravens, life, whatever. It's supposed to be a simple day. It wasn't supposed to be this. But for some reason, the Ravens, even though they've just reached their bye week, the chaos is already happening. Like, dog, how? How does this happen? How does this happen? My God, how does this happen? It's a Wednesday. Y'all are in a bye week. Well, a lot of us questioned why Deontay Johnson was not in the game at all. And we looked at them and said, why not play him? Well, it was a simple matter of fact. He didn't want to go in. So, I'm actually going to pull this up here. So, if you haven't heard the news about Deontay Johnson, which every Ravens fan has absolutely heard, Deontay Johnson has just been suspended for one game due to conduct detrimental to the team. Now, what is this conduct that is detrimental to the team, you may ask? Well, I will tell you this. Let me actually go to the Ravens page real quick and read to you what our GM posted today. So I'm at work, chilling out, not worried about a damn thing. Everything's all good. Around like 3:30, I take a look at Twitter. You know, I'm at work. I'm not really looking on Twitter or social media. I'm just vibing. I decide, let me take a peek on Twitter. I don't think anything chaotic's happening. I open up Twitter, and the first thing I see is a post from the Ravens. And it was a statement from GM Eric DeCosta. And I'm like, what just happened? What do you mean a statement for him? There's no reason our GM will be making an official statement unless something happened. This is what the Ravens posted around 3:11 p.m. today. We have made the difficult decision to suspend Deontay Johnson for our upcoming game against the New York Giants for conduct detrimental to the team. Deontay's suspension stems from refusing to enter our game against the Philadelphia Eagles. We will have no further comments on this matter going forward. Dog, what? What? Excuse me? What do you mean he refused to enter the game? What is going on in Baltimore right now? What is going on? From Ben Cleveland not even being able to see the field despite the fact that Falele is sticking up the joint, to Eddie Jackson getting signed with the team, being useless. He's still on the team, being useless, and eventually they realize he's useless. They cut him. To Marcus Williams being horrible this year, him having internal issues, they bench him for the Browns game. He comes back in the starting lineup, still more issues. Now he's a healthy scratch. And then you trade for Deontay Johnson. He's not getting playing time, and now he's suspended for one game because he didn't want to go in against the Eagles. What is happening? Now, I've been hearing stories from everybody. I've heard stories from everybody. Some are saying that Deontay Johnson was refusing to enter the game after Bateman went down because he's frustrated with the fact that he's not being utilized. Those are some of the things I've been hearing. I've been hearing another story that he actually was told to enter the game during garbage time. And he refused to come in during garbage time because when Bateman went down, they chose to go to Tylan Wallace instead of him. And he took offense to that, so he said he's not going to go in the game. Now, I'll say this. At the end of the day, no matter how you look at it, a player refusing to go in the game when the coach tells him go into the game, that's a problem. I don't care what the situation is. A player refusing to listen to the coach when the coach says get in the game, that's a problem right there. Those are the type of moments where you look back and say, okay, he's got to be cut. If he's not going to listen, he doesn't need to be here. He can be cut. A player doing that is always wrong in the situation. However, as a fan, how you do it, and most importantly, when you're doing it, does matter. If this is a situation where Deontay Johnson was told to come in for Bateman because Bateman went down with a knee injury and he just refused to because he's frustrated with how he's being utilized here, that's him being selfish, no question. He's wrong for that. But if this is a situation where Bateman goes down, they ignore him, go to Tylan Wallace over him, and then when garbage time comes up with 2 minutes left in the game, they want to throw him out there and he says no, then he's still wrong because he's not listening to the coach. But as a fan, I can understand where he's coming from. Because you're not utilizing me. You brought me here to be a piece to this offense. And I'm not being utilized. This dude was the #1 receiver for the Panthers. He's better than everybody. He's arguably better than Bateman, but he's better than everybody except Flowers. He's a top 3 receiver in your group. Is this the Q&A session? No! The Q&A session has been canceled. We're going to have to do that tomorrow or Friday. I was ready to do the Q&A session today when I got bombarded with this nonsense from the Ravens. So no. We're going to have to straight up say Q&A session. We're going to have to do that later. We got to talk about this. Not better than Bateman in my opinion. Shout out to my guys at the Purple Rain Podcast. I agree with you on that. I said arguably. I think he is better than Bateman. Actually, no, I don't think he is better than Bateman. I do not believe he's better than Bateman. I think it's arguably, but I don't think he's better than Bateman. Especially because Bateman is one of the best in terms of getting separation. Like this guy, I think the talent, we're seeing it now that he's healthy. The talent and capabilities that Bateman is showcasing, if you're watching the games, arguably he should be Lamar's #1 target over Flowers. I think Flowers is seen as the best receiver, no question. But in terms of who should be the #1 go-to guy for Lamar, especially when we're going up against man coverage, Bateman every time. On third down situations, Bateman has to be the #1 guy to look for before you go to Flowers or anybody else. Well, I mean, other than Mark Andrews, because Lamar and Andrews, they got that connection. But I would argue Bateman is that #1 target go-to guy. So I think he is better than Deontay Johnson. But people will make arguments that Deontay Johnson is better just because he has a better resume than Bateman so far in his career. So, yeah, that's just why I put out there. People have been debating that. But either way, I thought he would come here and be the number 3 receiver. You already had Flowers, you already had Bateman. You needed that third guy. Replace Nelson Aguilar, put in Deontay Johnson. I thought that's what they traded him for. You got him for virtually nothing. You didn't lose anything significant. You just moved down from the 5th to the 6th round. So I just thought, okay, you bring him in. He's on a contract. You're looking for a contract, looking to prove himself. Put him in as that number 3 receiver, a guy that's able to beat man coverage, get separation to man coverage, something we struggle with. An asset that can be useful in the offense. I thought that's what he was here for. Apparently, they don't even want to use him. He's supposed to be wide receiver 3. Instead, he's wide receiver 5. How? How is he wide receiver 5 if he's supposed to be wide receiver 3? How are you giving Nelson Aguilar, and in this case, Tylan Wallace, more looks than you're giving Deontay Johnson? It would have been crazy if we found out this news on Hard Knocks. That would have been hilarious. But I don't think the Ravens are going to have much screen time on Hard Knocks. I think because of all this chaos that's happening with the Ravens right now, since I found out the teams do have some control over that. They can demand or at least ask to not have this be shown or not have that be shown. So they can ask for certain things to be cut. And considering the fact that this is an organization that likes to keep everything private and doesn't like things like this coming out to the public unless they have to directly address it, I don't think the Ravens are going to get a lot of screen time on Hard Knocks if there's so much chaos going on. We don't exactly know what's happening in that locker room. We have no idea what's happening in that stadium. We have no idea what's happening up in Owings Mills. We don't know what's going on with this team right now. There's a lot of chaos that's been happening in the backgrounds, and we've seen it. We've seen it with some of the comments Marlon Humphrey made, where he talked about if players aren't out there producing, they can stay on the sideline. They don't need to be in the game, which felt like it was somewhat of a shot towards Marcus Williams, who's had a problem all season. Whether it's him versus the coaches or him versus some of the players, I don't know. There's just internal stuff that is affecting this team. There's so many issues with this team that I just don't believe the Ravens are going to allow that to be showcased on Hard Knocks. No way. With the way this team is so private about things, I don't know about that. But I would love I would love to see it. I would love to see it on Hard Knocks because I want to know the truth about this team. I want to know the inside aspects of it, but who knows? But yeah, you brought this guy here to be wide receiver 3. Why is he wide receiver 5? Bateman goes down. When I saw Bateman go down and I get the report he's out with a knee injury, I was actively searching for Deontay Johnson. This is supposed to be his moment. Instead, Tylan Wallace is in the game, and I'm like, what? Where is Deontay Johnson? Are they just refusing to play him? I remember after the game, I'm just like, what type of coaching is this? You've got Deontay Johnson out there who's supposed to be your wide receiver 3. Bateman goes down, and he doesn't get to go out there? What is the coaching doing? Coming to find out, he refused to go in the game. I don't know when he chose to say, I don't know when he refused, but he did. Now, again, I'm saying it, if he refused at the end of the game during garbage time, it's not right to do. It's a wrong thing for him to do, but I understand his frustrations because why am I coming in during garbage time when I could have been useful in the game once Bateman went down? But if it's a situation where they did call for him to come in the game after Bateman went down and he just said no, then yeah, he's completely wrong for that. He's selfish for that, and he's absolutely in the wrong. Can't defend him in any aspect. But if they tried to put this, if Bateman went down and they ignored Deontay and said Wallace coming for Bateman, then yeah, I understand why Deontay's acting this way. Because he's supposed to be wide receiver 3, and he's wide receiver 5 right now. And it makes absolutely no sense why that's the case. But yeah, there's so much craziness happening with the Ravens, man. So much craziness happening with the Ravens. So much craziness happened with the Ravens. You got the situation with Ben Cleveland. You've got the situation happening with Marcus Williams. You have the situation happening with Eddie Jackson. They just decided to cut him. And now you got the situation going on with Deontay Johnson. I don't know what's happening. We don't know what's happening. We don't know what's happening at all in Baltimore. I'll say this, though. The ending of this year is going to be comedy. It's going to be entertaining. At this point, hot take. Take this hot take with you. I got 2 hot takes, in fact, because I'm going to show the Ravens fan to me today. Hot take number 1. This is the sports fan to me. With a team like this, with all the controversy, hot take number 1 from a sports fan, the Ravens are either going to win the Super Bowl or they're going to get blown out in the first round. stamp it. There's no in between. I don't see them winning in the first round and then just collapsing in the division round. No. With the way everything's chaotic right now, it's either they come together and go on a run to win the Super Bowl, or they fold and their first round exit and they get beat badly by whoever they're playing in the wild card round. There's no in between, in my opinion. So the Ravens are either going to finish this season as Super Bowl champions, or they're going to be first round exits. That's my hot take as a sports fan. Now, here's my hot take as a Ravens fan. This is the team's best chance to win the Super Bowl. And with the way things are going right now, I have more confidence in the Ravens winning the Super Bowl than I did last year. Why do I say that? Well, it seems like the franchise has showcased what they are. If you actually go back into the history as a Ravens fan, take a look at the 2 Super Bowl runs the Ravens have had. In both those years, both 2000 and 2012, in both those years, it was filled with controversy. The 2000 Ravens team, they entered the playoffs as a team that was expected to be a wild card exit. They had this great defense, but their offense wasn't what it wasn't supposed to be. The turmoil and issues that surrounded the 2000 Ravens all stemmed from the offense being so bad. It was so bad, we benched our quarterback and went for the backup in Trent Dilfer. The offense went like 7 games without scoring a touchdown. The defense was so frustrated, they were ready to fight the offensive players. People knew. Even the offensive players sensed it. Even Shannon Sharp was saying, hey man, we might have to go to Trent. We might have to go to Trent. It's not working with the offense. So there was so much turmoil because of how poorly the offense was playing and how legendary what defense was playing. A change needed to happen. And the change was starting Trent Dilfer. Benching your starter and bringing in Trent Dilfer. And guess what? It led to the Super Bowl. 2012. That team had so much drama. First of all, Ray Lewis suffers a season-ending injury, or what was supposed to be a season-ending injury. I believe it was a torn bicep. He was supposed to be done for the year. The Ravens were an up-and-down football team. The main aspect was their offense being so conservative under Cam Cameron. Cam Cameron's offense was not getting it done. It was so conservative. We were losing games. We were losing certain games because we weren't being aggressive enough. It got so bad the Ravens had to make changes. They made 2 major changes. Number 1, they fired Cam Cameron and promoted Jim Caldwell. Number 2, they retooled the offensive line because those were the 2 biggest issues on the offense. Not to mention the mutiny that happened where they had a players meeting. Everything was put on the table. And people forget this. The 2012 Ravens were 9-2. They were 9-2. You know what their record was in December? 1-4. The one game they won was against the Giants to clinch the AFC North. So this team that went out to win the Super Bowl, they fired their offensive coordinator. They retooled their offensive line. They had a whole mutiny in the locker room. They were a 9-2 football team that went 1-4 in December just before the playoffs. They did not go into the playoffs hot. They went into the playoffs cold. They were 1-4. They were heading into the playoffs. I think they were 3 or 4 weeks removed from getting blown out by the Denver Broncos. I mean, this team got beat badly by the Houston Texans. The 2012 team was a chaotic mess. But you had so many aspects that came into it. They were 9-2 and finished off at 10-6 because they won the one game they needed to win against the Giants. They went 1-4 in December and in January as well. So they did that. They basically limped into the playoffs. But the mutiny brought them together. The changes with the offensive coordinator, the retooling of the offensive line, and then Ray Lewis coming back, even though he had suffered a season-ending injury, him coming back and telling those boys, this is my last ride. It just brought laser eye focus to the team. We gotta go find a way to win one for Ray. We got to let him ride off to the sunset. And they did. So now here we sit again. We had it with Dilfer, we had it with Flacco, and now we sit here with Lamar. Chaos everywhere. Offensive line is an issue. Chaos everywhere. The defense has been a mess for much of the year. Marcus Williams has been costing them. Chaos everywhere. The Ben Cleveland situation, the Marcus Williams situation, the Eddie Jackson situation, the Deontay Johnson situation. Things aren't looking so good. Marlon Humphrey has been low-key making specific jabs at certain players that aren't showing up. He's been a lot more vocal. Lamar is visibly showing his frustrations. Derrick Henry's visibly showing his frustrations. This team right now looks like a mess heading into the bye week. And the funny thing is, in 2012, they head into the bye week still with some of these concerns and messes. And guess what their get-right game was? The Giants game. That helped them clinch the division. Guess what game we're having come out of the bye week? The Giants game. Not saying this team is going to be like those other teams, because what this team's missing right now is that moment where they come together. So now, here's where I take it towards a different aspect. I don't care about John Harbaugh. I don't care about Eric DeCosta. I don't care about none of these people in the front office. I don't care about any of the coaches, not Zachary Orr, not Todd Monken. I don't care about them. Lamar Jackson, Marlon Humphrey, Derrick Henry, Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton. I'm calling you 5 out. You've got to rally to get these guys together. If there's a meeting you guys need to have to air out all the grievances, it's time. Because those two teams that won the Super Bowl for this franchise had their issues, but because of the leadership in the locker room, they were able to come together and get it done. So it's time for your superstar players to step up, rally this team together, and get them back. Harbaugh's not going to get this team in order. DeCosta's not going to get this team in order. Not Zachary or not Todd Monken. Your superstar players are going to have to be the reason this team gets back in order. And if they can't get it together, it's because you don't have the leadership to get it done. And that'll say something about Lamar. That'll say something about Kyle. That'll say something about Marlon. That'll say something about Roquan. That'll say something about Derrick. Your superstar players, this is the time. With everything in front of you, with all the talent in the world. Yeah, Mark Andrews as well. With all the talent in the world to be able to go beat any team in the National Football League any given Sunday. You have the talent to win the Super Bowl. I'm putting it on the players. You need to come together. I'm putting it on the star players. The star players have to come together and figure this out. It's not going to be because of the coaches. It's not. Because those two Super Bowl teams had turmoil. They had issues. But it was the players that came together. It was the players that came together and got it done. And if that doesn't happen with this team, they're not going to get it done. That's why right now we're sitting back and saying the difference between 2012 and this team is 2012, they got it together because their leadership stepped up. Will our leadership step up now? Like I'm saying, first round exit, Super Bowl. There's no in between with the Ravens. They're not going to get bounced in the divisional round. They're not getting bounced in the AFC title game. And they're not going to go all the way to the Super Bowl just to lose. They're either winning the damn title or they're going out in the first round. There's no in between. It's do or die time now. You're in your bye week. Your superstars must step up and showcase their leadership. It's all on them. Because that is what happened with those two Super Bowl teams. Neither one of those teams should have won the Super Bowl that year. Neither one of them. The 2012 Ravens weren't the team to win the Super Bowl. You know which team that should have won the Super Bowl? The 2011 Ravens. That was the best Ravens squad we had in the Flacco era. They actually got over the hump in Pittsburgh. I remember in 2011. They got over the hump. When that touchdown to Torrey Smith in Pittsburgh was the first time everyone in Baltimore says we finally have the team. We finally gotten over the hump. We won in Heinz Field. This is the team that can go get it done. That's the team that's going to the Super Bowl. So it's heartbreaking. When we got to the AFC title game, Lee Evans drops a pass, Billy Cundiff missed a kick, we go home. The following year, chaos all over the place. But because of the leaderships and because of the specific changes they made when they realized they have an opportunity here, because of those two elements, they came together and won the chip. So, here we are again. Third time in this franchise where you're doing the same thing. Controversy, drama. You need your superstar players to step up as leaders and bring this locker room together. It won't be your head coach. It won't be the coordinators. It won't be any of the other coaches. It won't be your GM. It won't even be your owner. It comes down to your superstar players. How this season ends will be defined by the leadership of your superstar players. So you look at Lamar Jackson, you look at Derrick Henry, you can even look at Mark Andrews, you look at Roquan Smith, you look at Marlon Humphrey, you look at Kyle Hamilton. The ending of this season will be defined by the star players' leadership. That's all that needs to be said. That's all that needs to be said. So if those leaders don't step up, it says something about their leadership. And then we can have a real conversation in Baltimore about how they're lacking in leadership to get it done. We don't have the type of players to take over a locker room like that, in my opinion. Well, we're about to find out. We're about to find out. They get knocked down the first round, or God forbid they miss the playoffs. We're proven right in that. Because many of us speculate they just don't have the players to showcase that level of leadership. Many of us have already speculated and damn near believe that. But they have a chance to write their own story. Leadership. Leadership. It starts at the top, which is why I hold the most amount of focus on Lamar. Buddy, you're the two-time MVP. You're going to be a future Hall of Famer someday. You don't have a championship. You're trying to cement your legacy with a title. You as the leader got to bring this squad together. I need to see the leadership skills of Lamar Jackson. I need to see the leadership skills of Roquan Smith. What do you do as a leader? What do you do as a leader? I don't care if you're motivating them on the field during game day. What are you going to do about this situation that's going on right now? Marlon Humphrey, one of the leaders of this defense, what are you going to do during this bye week? The players got to get together. All the players are off. The coaches are going to be the ones to stay here. So right now we've got the first half that needs to be done. When it comes to the coaches, changes need to happen. Unfortunately, I don't think those changes are going to happen. That's just my personal opinion. But there needs to be some changes that happen. The coaches are in this week. The first element is fixing those issues. So changes need to happen. But when it comes from the leadership side, it comes down to your star players having a conversation, putting everything out there. And that includes talking to Deontay Johnson. And Lamar, that's your job. Figure it out. Figure it out. Figure it out. So yeah, with all of this happening right now, this is the most confidence I have in the Ravens. In this era of Ravens football, this has to be the most confidence I have in the Ravens winning a title. But it can only happen if your leaders step up. Because leadership will determine the season for the Ravens. Whether there'll be a first round exit, whether they will miss the playoffs, or whether they end up in the Super Bowl as champions. Leadership is going to determine this season. I'm saying it right now. Leadership's determining this season. No question, leadership is determining this season. Comes down to that. If your leadership's not where it needs to be, you're not going to win. And that's going to say something about Lamar, and that'll say something about Roquan Smith, and that'll say something about Marlon Humphrey, and that'll say something about Kyle Hamilton in terms of who they are as leaders. This is the time. This is the time to step up as leaders of this football team. You must step up and talk to these dudes. A meeting, a conversation, something needs to happen with the players, and they all need to come together and lock in. If the Ravens can do that, if your leaders can step up, then it's a whole different conversation. And now you can look at this Ravens team. Because in terms of being battle tested, this team's already been battle tested. They're what are they? I believe they're 4-1 or 4-2 in games where they've been down double digits. Because they were down by so they lost to the Eagles 4-2. They're 4-2 against teams. And they're 4-2 this season when they've been down double digits. No other team in the National Football League is above 500. This team has the adversity. They've won games in great fashion. They've lost games they have no reason to. This team has all the adversity needed. They're battle tested. They've shown they can come back from double-digit deficits on multiple occasions. So they're battle tested. They have the talent. They're battle tested. Now it comes down to the leadership. And that's why the end of this season is going to be entertaining. Because we're going to figure out what type of leaders we have in this locker room. We're going to figure that out. What type of leaders do we have in Baltimore? Because we saw with the predecessors, they got this team together. You're not going to get the leadership that you were getting from a Ray Lewis, obviously. But somebody's got to show some leadership here. And it starts with your franchise quarterback. It starts with the guy that's going to be in the Hall of Fame, the 2-time MVP. He's got to set the tone. It starts from there, and then it goes to Roquan and Marlon and Hamilton. It goes to those guys. Your leaders need to step up. And if they don't step up and they don't rally these guys together, get ready to go home in the first round. That's all that needs to be said. Oops, excuse me. Gotta fix this. But that's all that needs to be said. Step up or face defeat. There's only two options. Only two options. Step up as leaders or fall short and face defeat. Only two choices for the Ravens at this point. Only two choices. That's all that needs to be said. So as we take a look at this situation more and more, it just it just becomes even more comical as a Ravens fan. I didn't even talk about the cryptic tweets. I didn't talk about the cryptic tweets from Bateman. I didn't talk about Zay Flowers acting like a diva on the field, which, by the way, I like Zay Flowers acting like a diva. I don't listen. You have to be that level of, you have to be that talented to be acting like that, okay? And I think Zay Flowers has a talent, and we're seeing him be recognized as he's becoming one of the best receivers in the game. And when you're becoming one of the best receivers in the game, you're gonna want the football. You're gonna want the football. So I don't have a problem with Zay Flowers being a diva because he's backing it up on the field. When you have that level of talent, it makes sense for you to be a diva. Pretty much most of the top tier receivers have that level of diva in them, where they want the ball, and when they're not getting it, you can see their mood be actively effective, whether it's on the field or not. How was he being a diva? Oh, because they showcased. They were basically showcasing him going off on the field, just taking his helmet off, screaming around, just basically calling for the ball and stuff. There's videos of that showcasing on Twitter right now of how he was behaving when he wasn't getting the ball. So that's why they're saying he's being a diva. And you know how it is. Any receiver that showcases that behavior automatically considered a diva. So that's just how it's called nowadays. I think it's just him being passionate, but it's called being a diva when it happens. But it is what it is. Congrats to the Eagles. This has nothing to do with the Eagles, but congrats. I guess this is an Eagles fan that just wanted to come here and talk about the Eagles. Congrats. I mean, you won the game. Congrats. Shouldn't you be focusing on the NFC? You guys are trying to fight for the 1 seed against the Lions. I'm not exactly sure what you're doing on the Ravens page. Buddy, we're talking about the turmoil in Baltimore. We're not focused on the Eagles. We gave you your congrats. Not sure what you're doing on the Ravens page on Wednesday. We already gave you guys your congratulations. Focus on trying to get that 1 seed from the Lions. That's where you guys should be. I don't know what else to tell you. But we already gave you guys congratulations. So I don't know what else to tell you. We're talking about the turmoil that's going on in Baltimore. Because we've got issues left, right, up, and down. We got issues all over the damn place. And with this Deontay Johnson news, it's only getting more and more public just how chaotic it is. Just how chaotic it is. But man, this news really did surprise me, because we were already talking about it. We talked about it on the stream after the game, where we were asking where Deontay Johnson was and why the team was not playing him. Come to find out, they wanted to play him. He just didn't want to get in the game. And that's problematic. We've been hearing stories about how he's been frustrated with his usage in Baltimore, which not exactly surprised, because I had a feeling. I had a feeling the Ravens would do something like this. Where they would just bring the guy in and then be like, oh, yeah, I know you were a number 1 receiver in Carolina and you actually should be our wide receiver 3, but we like our guy, so we're going to try to ease you in as a wide receiver 4 or 5. They do this all the time. This is why no top-tier receiver would want to play here, because the Ravens operate like this all the time. Players need to step up. It's more than that. We need our leaders to step up and motivate these guys. It's not about players stepping up. This is now, with the level of chaos here, they now match up with the 2000 and the 2012 Ravens. The difference between those teams and the team we have right now is those teams, their leaders stepped up, rallied the team together, and everybody was on the same page down the stretch. So now it's time for your leaders to step up. It's not just the specific players as a whole need to step up. No, the leadership needs to take it to another level and rally this team together. We need leaders in Baltimore. And the leaders you have right now, it's time to showcase that leadership. It starts with Lamar and goes right down. So where are our leaders? You need to bring this team together. We need to see our leaders. Zay Flowers getting that Antonio Brown CTE level of being the diva. Nah, I don't think anyone's going to match up. Nah. I don't think anybody. No. I don't think anyone other. Let me not say anyone. I think the only person that has the potential to match up with Antonio Brown's level of being a diva, easy. George Pickens. Dude's a bona fide crash out. George Pickens is the only receiver, I think, in the National Football League that has a chance to match AB's level of being a diva. This dude is a bona fide crash out. Bona fide crash out. I don't know what it is about the Steelers, but they just draft these type of receivers every single time. But I would not say Zay Flowers is going to get to that level. Couldn't see that happening. Not Zay. But Pickens, he's well on his way. Early on, he's well on his way. Let's see how he is in 3 years with Pittsburgh. Oh man, crash out king. Crash out king. Fighting dudes when the play is already over, or the play is going on somewhere else because the ball got picked off and he wants to suplex someone. I mean, just crash out king. Crash out king right now. Crash out king. Facts. I don't think that John will coach his way to Super Bowl. We need Lamar to speak up and stop being a nice guy all the time. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Harbaugh coached his way to the Super Bowl in 2012. I think it's the leadership that stepped up. Like I said, the mutiny happened. Ray Lewis coming back from a season-ending injury and telling those boys this is his last ride. When your leader comes back from a season-ending injury and tells you this is his final ride, I need everything from you guys. That helps the team lock in. So leadership is the main reason we were able to win the Super Bowl in 2012. I don't think it's anything John specifically did. Unless John just got out the way when they fired Cam Cameron, because I don't think Cam Cameron being fired was John's decision. I'm pretty sure it would have to be more so of Ozzy's decision to fire Cam Cameron. I don't think John specifically do that. And then mixing up, retooling the offensive line, I'm not fully sure if that was John's decision either. Maybe it was his decision for both. I don't know. But I have a speculation it's not. And the primary reason they won that Super Bowl in 2012 has to deal with the leadership that was shown by Ray Lewis coming back from that injury to rally his troops. Not because of John's coaching. So if you want to get back to that aspect, it's going to come to your leaders. So Lamar. Time to showcase that leadership. Zay Flowers had an interview a little while back, I think it was last week, where he talked about Lamar Jackson saying his potential is limitless, man. And we've seen this for such a long time. Now, because we haven't won a Super Bowl, he hasn't been able to prove it. But we want to get him a Super Bowl so that we could show it to the world. So Zay Flowers, everyone, if you've noticed this, if you've noticed how the players have talked, all the players have talked about Super Bowls. They've all said they want to get Super Bowl for Lamar. They want to get a Super Bowl for Lamar. It's always been about Lamar. You don't hear anyone say, let's get a Super Bowl for Harbaugh. We're not trying to. No, they're trying to get it for Lamar. This team goes as far as Lamar can take them. He is the leader of this team. He is the face of this franchise. So guess what? The leader of this team and the face of the franchise needs to rally his troops. So it comes down to Lamar. He has to be the leader and rally this troop. And if he can't do that, it speaks for what he is as a leader. It comes down to that. If he's not able to rally these troops with his leadership, then it speaks on what type of leader he is. It speaks to what type of leader he is. So that's pretty much how it is. Okay, that's pretty much how it is. John's gonna be John. He's always been this same way. It's gonna come down to leadership in Baltimore. It's gonna come down to your leader rallying his troops. So Lamar, it's on you, buddy. It's on you. You want to win the Super Bowl. You need to cement your legacy. Yada yada yada. It's up to you. You need to rally the troops. And if you need some help, call up Marlon, call up Kyle, call up Derek, call up Roquan, call these guys up, have a players meeting, and let's get everything out in the open. Conversations need to be had. And if that doesn't happen, if we just sit back and pretend that everything's A-okay, no conversations are had, then first round exit it is. But if a conversation's had and everybody's very clear and understanding of what needs to be done, yeah, I could see that Super Bowl run. But I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. That's why I've said first round exit. I don't know if that conversation is going to happen. I don't know if our leaders are going to step up and rally the troops. I don't know. So I've been leaning towards first round exit. But if they do step up as leaders, they can go on a run for a Super Bowl. I can absolutely see it. These are the type of moments. Right now, we're living it. These are the type of moments that can define a legacy. These are the type of moments that can define a career. These are the type of moments that can define the reputation of a franchise. What do you do in these moments? We're at our lowest of lows. We're at our lowest of lows. First off, an AFC championship game. We're off our championship loss, We're at the lowest of lows right now. We're at the lowest of lows. We're going to make the playoffs, obviously, but we're at the lowest of lows. What do you do when you're at your lowest of lows? What do you do? Who steps up? Who are you as a player? Who are you as a team? Who are you as a franchise? What are you going to do? These are the moments in history. These are the moments. We're living it out right now with the Ravens. They're going to define their legacy by how this season ends and how they perform in January. It's up to them to step up and answer the call. I don't want to hear about, I think we have a good chance to playoffs. No. Show us. Show us. Chaos everywhere. Where are your leaders to step up? Leadership. Where are the leaders to step up? It's time. It's time. So with all this chaos going around, the Ravens, obviously coming off of their bye week, have the Giants on schedule. And because Deontay Johnson has been suspended, he will not play against the Giants, meaning that his next game will be against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because I believe we got the Steelers after the Giants. Let me look at the Ravens schedule. So the next time Deontay Johnson will have an opportunity to play will be December 21st at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's his next opportunity to play. At home against the Steelers, December 21st is when he will have an opportunity to play. And obviously the Ravens suspended him. Most people will ask, why didn't they cut him? Why didn't they cut Deontay Johnson? Why not? If he's acting this way, he doesn't need to be on the team. Why not cut Deontay Johnson? I think it's a simple answer for that. And I think Baltimore, even though we question their intelligence because of how they do things, Baltimore's not completely stupid. If Deontay Johnson is cut by the Ravens, it would take no more than 2 days for that man to be on a plane heading to Kansas City. I will repeat this. If Deontay Johnson was cut by the Ravens, it wouldn't take him that long to hop on a plane and head to Kansas City. The Ravens know that. If they cut this man, he will be a chief by the end of the week. And they have no plans to help out Kansas City's receiving issues. No, they have no plans to do so. If he doesn't play for the rest of the season, they'll be fine with it. But they're not about to cut this man and let him walk to Kansas City, knowing that they might have to face off against him in the playoffs. Nope. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. They're not dumb. They're not that dumb that they'll let him go. They're not that dumb that they will cut him knowing he would end up going to Kansas City. Because where else would he go? Kansas City needs receivers right now. Kansas City needs all the receiver help they can get. They don't know how Hollywood's going to look coming off of the injury. So they need all the receiver help they can get. If Baltimore's not going to use Deontay Johnson, Kansas City will use him. And they know that. So they're not going to cut him. That's why they suspended him. Because for behavior like this, he would have got waived. he would have got waived. They're not even paying him much anything. Like they would have, no question, they would have easily waived him. Nah, they want that comp pick. That's part of it. But honestly, when it comes to disciplinary issues, when you go against Harbaugh and you get put in the doghouse, nah. When you get put in the doghouse, they release you. They don't care if they got to lose the pick. They don't. Once you get put in John Harbaugh's doghouse, if they have to release you and sacrifice a pick to release you, they will do so. They will do so no matter what the situation is. As soon as Marcus Peters got in that doghouse, he was done. When I saw him yelling at Harbaugh after when they got off the field and the Bills were about to kick the game-winning field goal, and we saw him barking back at Harbaugh, everybody in Baltimore knew, yeah, this is going to be the last year Marcus Peters is in Baltimore. No question. Oh, I don't blame Deontay at all. Y'all came and got me to have me play garbage time when I'm trying to get a big contract next year. You play with my livelihood. Yeah, I don't blame him for feeling that way. Because if they're going to play him in garbage time, if you're not even going to play him, first of all, why is he here? And then when you want to play him, you want to play him in garbage time. He's trying to get a contract. He's trying to get to a contract. Yeah, this whole situation is just weird. This whole situation is just weird. It's just weird. It's just weird. I'm just looking on Twitter for anything else in regards to the Ravens in this situation, because like it's just so damn weird how everything is just unraveling right now, and it's up to them to get it together. I question whether or not they can do it. That's why for much of the year I've said their first round exit. But if they do, they're going to the Super Bowl. They put it together, they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I already gave my hot takes. I said my hot take as a football fan, the Ravens are either going to win the Super Bowl this year, or they're going to be a first round exit and get beat badly in that first round game. I said that. With the way the Ravens are right now, they're either winning the Super Bowl or they're getting beat in the first round, no question. My hot take as a Ravens fan, this is the most confidence I've had in the Lamar Jackson era that the Ravens can get it done and go win a Super Bowl. This franchise doesn't know what it means to be dominant. A dominant year where you can go win the Super Bowl and look like that. They don't know what to do with that. They really don't. This franchise doesn't know what it means to be dominant. They always want to be the underdogs. They were born being the underdogs. They want to stay being the underdogs. I don't know why. You get yourself a year where you're dominating and you should be able to go the distance, but they can't. They can't. They really can't. And this is not the first time this has happened. This is not the first time this has happened. This is not the first time this has happened. This is not the first time this has happened. This happened in 2006 when they were 13-4, or 13-3. This happened in 2006 when they were 13-3, got bounced by the Colts in the divisional round. It happened in 2019 when they were 14-2. Well, not 14. Was it 13? It was 14-2. When they were 14-2, got bounced in the divisional round, one and done. And this happened last year when they got bounced in the AFC title game. This franchise doesn't know what it means to be dominant. In 2011. That was the best team in the Flacco era. They get to the AFC title game and blow it. They can't win unless there's turmoil all over the place. They're dealing with constant adversity. There's mess everywhere, and they have to find a way to come together as underdogs and figure it out. The 2 rings they have, neither one of those teams should have been able to get past the first round. Both of those teams should have been first round exits, yet they won the Super Bowl. Yet the years where they've been dominant as a franchise, they're either going one and done or they're not getting to the Super Bowl. It's just this team cannot be dominant in the regular season and have that translate to the playoffs. They have to go through adversity 17 times, have drama happening throughout the year over and over again, and then figure it out. Baltimore cannot get going without adversity. So here's the adversity. That's why I feel this is the Ravens' best chance to win the Super Bowl in the Lamar Jackson era. Because They can't thrive without this adversity. They can't thrive unless they're endless underdogs. And with the way the Ravens look right now, nobody would pick them to win in the playoffs. That's the only way they can get themselves together. If they're not the favorite, they can get it done. John's ego is out of control. I mean, his ego's so inflated. He's willing to crash and burn with his guys over playing the best players possible. Lamar even said, "Why do we have him if we aren't going to play him?" Lamar wants him out there. Yeah, controversy, drama for no reason. Lamar needs to speak up to the coach. I'm sure he's doing that, but more needs to happen. It's not just speaking up to the coach. The leaders need to step up and speak to the team. This stuff's going to be on the AFC North episode of Mac. Nah, doubt it. Apparently, the teams have control as to they have control as to what they're willing to let the public see. So they have control of what they're okay with showing. I think the show asks these teams, "Are you okay with this?" And the team can deny and say, "We don't want to show that." So I doubt any of this controversy is going to be shown because the Ravens are a private organization. They don't like showing anything. They don't. So I don't know if this is going to be on an episode. They're probably going to tell them to cut that out. They're going to have to cut out a lot of stuff. So the Ravens probably won't even be that involved in this Hard Knocks AFC North version because there's so much controversy happening right now. They don't want to show that to the public. DJ's drama needs to go ASAP. I mean, he wants to play. They're not playing him. We aren't winning the Super Bowl, unfortunately. Too much inconsistency. The 2000 Ravens were inconsistent. The 2012 Ravens were inconsistent. 2000 Ravens went 7 straight games without scoring an offensive touchdown. They benched their starter and brought in Trent Dilfer. The 2012 Ravens were 9-2 heading into December. They went 1-4 and finished 10-6, barely winning the AFC North. This team, they haven't been able to win a championship. 2000 Ravens had a lockdown defense, but it's still, if you can't score at all offensively, you weren't going to be able to win all the way to the Super Bowl. And again, if they didn't make that change to Trent Dilfer, they weren't going to win. And the same thing with 2012, the defense wasn't where it needed to be. Here's the difference, Kevin, what you're missing. Here's the difference that this team's missing compared to that team, and this team can show it. Leadership. Leadership's the biggest difference. You had leaders in that 2000 locker room. You had leaders in the 2012 locker room. In fact, 2012 fits this more because, again, the inconsistencies that we're showcasing, there were major changes that happened. Cam Cameron was fired and Jim Caldwell took over as the offensive coordinator. They made changes in the offensive line. Ray Lewis suffered a season-ending injury, came back and told the team it was his last ride. They had a mutiny, a whole meeting to discuss everything. These things help them come together. The Ravens right now don't have any of that. Now, with that being said, if they make the changes that they can make, such as fixing up the offensive line, such as improving on the defense, which they've been slowly doing right now, you make those changes. But most importantly, if your leaders show up and rally this team, that is where you could watch this team go to distance in the playoffs. The problem, well, not the problem, but the controversial aspect of this is none of us believe they can do that. It comes down to leadership because I don't believe coaching is the reason why they won in 2012. I think leadership from your leaders in that locker room that helped rally the team together towards the playoffs. I think that's why they won in 2012. So if this 2024 Ravens squad is going to win the Super Bowl, it's going to be because of the leadership shown by Lamar, Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, Derrick Henry, your superstar players. It's going to be your superstar players showcasing their leadership. If they can't showcase that leadership, they're going to be one and done. I already said they're going to be a first-round exit because I don't think they have the leadership to get it done. But if they prove us wrong, that's how it is. That's why I said the Ravens are either going to be a first-round exit or they're going to win the Super Bowl. It comes down to the leadership. That's the main aspect, the biggest aspect. So the only way the Ravens can win the Super Bowl is if their leaders rally this team together. Because they have the talent to win it. They have the talent and capabilities of beating any team in the National Football League any given Sunday. They have the capabilities. But your leaders need to rally this squad. And if they can't do that, they'll be a first-round exit. Many of us believe they can't, such as you, Kevin. They'll be a first-round exit. Same for me. I haven't seen it. I would love to see the leadership. I don't believe they have the leadership to get it done. But if they do, and they show it, Super Bowl. It all comes down to leadership. Because leadership is what got them there in 2012. So if the leaders you have right now in that locker room cannot rally this team, they're a first round exit. No question. So it comes down to that. It comes down to that. It comes down to that. Many of us don't believe they have the leadership, which is why we're saying first round exit. But if they prove they have the leadership, by all means, they can get to the Super Bowl because they can rally together as a team. And when a team is united, heading into the playoffs, they can beat anybody. But we don't believe they have the leadership here in Baltimore to get it done, which is why many of us are saying first round exit. That's just how it is. Cal Hamilton is unfortunately a quiet guy. He doesn't lead. Well, if he doesn't want to lead, then he can enjoy a first round exit. If he doesn't want to lead, he can enjoy a first round exit. But he needs to step up as one of the leaders of this team. He's a leader. Humphrey's a leader. Roquan's a leader. Lamar's a leader. Derrick Henry's become a leader. Mark Andrews is a leader. Your star players need to step up and rally this squad together. You can't do that. You can't lead. You're not going to win. You need leadership. And if leadership is not going to step up and rally the troops, then why are you even competing in the playoffs in the first place? You'll be first round exit. You'll be a first round exit. You'll be a first round exit. So that's what it comes down to. Because that 2012 team shouldn't have won the Super Bowl. But leadership was the biggest aspect in turning everything around. When Ray Lewis suffers a season-ending injury, doctors say he's not going to be able to play for the rest of the year. He says, all right, bet. He comes back at the end of the season despite suffering a season-ending injury, tells them I'm going to play in the playoffs. This is my last ride. Let's go out on our own terms. He does that, it rallies the troops. So you need your MVP quarterback, your future Hall of Fame quarterback, and all these star players on the offense and defense need to rally this team together. Leadership got them the championship in 2012. Leadership can get them the championship this year. If they cannot rally as a group, if your star players cannot lead this squad and rally the troops, they're going to go one and done. And that will say something about who Lamar is as a leader, who Roquan is as a leader, who Marlon Humphrey is as a leader. It will say a lot about our young star players. And you know what we'll be saying? They don't have the leadership capable enough of getting it done. You have the talent, you just don't have the leadership. They got the leadership in Kansas City. That's why they got 3 rings. We'll be asking that. We'll be asking that. All that won't matter if Justin Tucker misses game-winning field goals in the playoffs. How about you just don't put Justin Tucker in those situations? You already know he's a problem. How about we start making some changes? Just don't put Justin Tucker in that situation. I'd rather just go for it than put him in that situation. Just don't put him in that situation. Even Lamar said it. We just can't put Tucker in that situation. We should score in those drives. So do it. Practice what you preach. Not saying it's easy, but you're chasing a championship. No one says the path to a championship is going to be easy. Sad they're probably not changing 65 and 77. Yeah, Harbaugh's ego is going to be the downfall of this team, but whatever. Amos Flock, forget, Harbaugh's Super Bowl is full of Hall of Famers, and most of those guys are the men Brian Billick and Ozzie Newsome drafted. I mean, you start with the big 3, obviously, with Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and Terrell Suggs. Yanda was on that team, too. Wow, we do have a bunch of Hall of Famers on that team. I didn't realize that. Really do have, like, legit Hall of Famers on that 2012 squad. A playoff run this year would be similar to 2012, too. Absolutely. For all the people that are sitting back and complaining about this team being 8-5 right now in December, the Ravens entered December in 2012 9-2. They finished the season 10-6. They went 1-4 in December. They went 1-4 in December, and then that last game in January, of course. They went 1-4. They did not go into the playoffs hot. They lost their final game of the season. They clinched the AFC North with the win against the Giants. That's the only win they had in December. The win against the Giants that clinched the AFC North. They lost all the other games. They got blown out by the Broncos. They got beat badly by the Texans. I think the final game we had that season was Cincinnati. They lost it. They had no momentum heading into the playoffs. And yet, they did what they did because of the leadership. How many playoff/Super Bowl games have come down to a kicker making a field goal? I don't know. We know Brady's first rings. Brady's, first 2, maybe 3 rings came down to game-winning field goals. Adam Vinatieri made all 3 of those kicks. So there's probably a lot that's come down to game-winning field goals. I don't know how many, but it's probably a lot. Games are close, man. Every team ends up in field goal situations. The margin of error, the margins of difference between playoff caliber teams are so close. Yeah, absolutely. But you have opportunities to make sure you're not put in those positions. And when you have those opportunities, you got to capitalize on it. We didn't need a game-winning kick from Justin Tucker against the Colts. We needed it against the Broncos, obviously, because it was overtime. But you didn't need it against the Colts. You didn't need it against the Patriots in the AFC title game. You didn't need it in the Super Bowl. Hell, Harbaugh wanted to get cute and decided to run a fake in the Super Bowl for no reason. And hell, leadership can be part of that too. Somebody got to go talk to Tucker and get him his confidence back. Rally the troops. Rally the troops. It all comes down to rallying the troops. It all comes down to rallying the troops. It all comes down to rallying the troops. And that's where the leadership comes in. Go talk to Tucker. Get him back where he needs to be. If he's got to be on the field doing extra practice, if he's got to do something different to change his kicking motion, go talk to him. Showcase leadership. That's what I'm talking about. Leadership, bringing up the morale. Lead these guys. Rally them. Get Tucker's confidence back. Showcase your leadership. It comes with everything. That's the biggest aspect here. Imagine that, though. We go on a run, beat all of the front runners, and head to the Super Bowl off a Tucker field goal to beat Kansas City. In the words of Bateman, dream. I mean, yeah, right now it's a huge dream. That's a pipe dream. By the way, unless we win the division, beating Kansas City to get to the Super Bowl is not going to happen because you would have to face off against Kansas City in the divisional round. Based on the way the Ravens are right now, they'd go to Pittsburgh for the wild card round. Divisional round would be against Kansas City against Kansas City, of course. And then the AFC title game, let's be real, it'd probably be against Buffalo. Now, I'm not going to lie. A perfect dream for all those Ravens fans on Twitter would be Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and Buffalo to go to the Super Bowl. You beat all three of those teams to silence those fan bases. Oh, perfect dream. Then you get whoever you want coming out of the I was about to say Eastern Conference, coming out of the NFC. Beat them, win the Super Bowl. That'd be a perfect dream for the Ravens. But I don't think it's going to happen unless leadership steps up. Didn't the O-line coach say he likes Faalele's pass blocking despite him whiffing on the ton of blocks? Yeah, he said that. I have no problem with what he said. You got to earn your paycheck. Job security is important. Like, anyone that's mad at George saying what he said about Faalele, Buddy's just trying to earn a living. He's got a family to feed. He legitimately has a family to feed. You want him to take on Harbaugh's ego? Harbaugh just came off of saying they're not making any change in the O-line. And you think the O-line coach is going to sit back and say anything negative about Faalele? Buddy likes his job. He's got a family to feed. We all would do it. You know, these bills ain't going to pay themselves. I'm not about to risk my job to go against what Harbaugh's doing. No, I'm not about to take on John's ego. So I don't blame George for saying that. I ain't, man. You have to. You have to. No question you got to do this, man. The economy right now ain't in a good place, man. Do you know the job hunt right now is, job market is tough. Job market is tough. I ain't about to risk that to go against my boss's ego. No. George, you sit back and you praise Faalele as much as you want. Make sure John feels comfortable with you. You need your job. People got families to feed. I don't care if the fans want to get mad at him saying Faalele has been improving and we like what we see there. Matter of fact, sit back and say he ain't going nowhere in the offensive line. Just so you know that just so John knows, not you, just so that John knows you're on his side. You got to keep that job, man. You got to keep that job. You got to keep that job, man. Job security is important in this era. I agree with you. Somebody needs to be aggressive with Tucker. We don't care what you have done. What are you doing now? Absolutely. That has to be the mindset. We love Tucker. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, obviously, but every year is different, and we can't talk about what you've done for us in previous years. It's about what you're doing for us right now. And what are you going to do to fix it so that we're in the position we need to be to win these games? If Buffalo can pick up the number 1 seed, then you go against them, and then the 2 seed. I don't know if Kansas City is going to lose another game this season. I don't know. Maybe Kansas City just messes up, but I don't know. I think Kansas City's going to get the 1 seed. We aren't losing to the Steelers again. Lamar is ready to run again. Hey, we'll see. We will find out. Had to subscribe to you. Love your passion, brother. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate the love and support. My friend is a Ravens fan. He said he'll shave his head if they win the Super Bowl, given this team's drama and troubles. Hey, He ain't gonna have to pick up them Clippers. I'm gonna be honest. He don't have to pick up them Clippers. He ain't gotta shave his head. Most of us don't believe they have the leadership. Good. I don't. Most of us just don't see the leadership right now. Dude, Kansas City was looking like this last year. Not the drama, but they were literally teetering and tottering. That Chiefs team last year was awful in the regular season. Not awful. They were barely passable in the regular season. They rallied together because they have the leadership to get it done. They rallied together in the playoffs, showcased the leadership of Mahomes, of Kelsey, of Andy. The leadership showcased itself. Chris Jones with the defense. The leadership showcased itself. That Chiefs team had no business being in the Super Bowl. They shouldn't have gotten out of Buffalo. That Chiefs team should not have gotten out of Buffalo. They shouldn't have gotten out of Baltimore. But they did because of leadership. If you don't have that leadership here in Baltimore, you're wasting your time. First round exit. If the Ravens somehow go all the way to the Super Bowl and win it all this year, I will make myself chug a 2-liter bottle of Pepsi. Good luck with that, man. Watching Tucker this season is like watching Shaq in his last year. It hurts. Hurts to who? I mean, I don't know if I would sit back and say. I'd probably say Kobe this last year. I mean, Shaq's just got old. Kobe tore his Achilles, and we all knew he was done. I'm not going to lie. Like, watching Kobe those final years was just depressing. But Shaq, I mean, he just got... He never took care of his body. He never took care of his body. He never managed his body. He got fat and old. That's why Shaq retired. He got fat and old to the point where these injuries were piling up. Kobe tore his Achilles and wasn't the same again. And he was having arguably his best statistical season and carrying the hell out of that Lakers team. So I would probably look more towards Kobe. Then again, I get it because it's like, well, Shaq was just falling off. But Tucker, it's not like Tucker got fat, nor has Tucker got an injury. But I'm just saying, in terms of depressing ends, Kobe's final years post-torn Achilles was just sad to see. Like, nobody, we don't talk about these. Between Kobe tearing his Achilles and the 60-point game in his final game of his career, we don't talk about the in-between. We don't. We don't talk about the in-between. We just don't. Do you think if Lamar went back to his 2019 game style, we would be better off? I mean, it's difficult in terms of what aspect specifically in 2019. I don't want it to be like if it's like look left, like you look 1, 2, 3 and then go. I kind of like the way Lamar's reading defenses, and like he's throwing in rhythm, he's reading the defenses and doing everything. His mindset is at such a high level now compared to what it was in 2019, that the way he plays the game now compared to where he plays the game in 2019, it's not even close. So if you're speaking more towards the aspect of, I got to be a baller, I got to use my legs a lot more and take off and win this by any means necessary, then by all means, yeah, sure. If you want Lamar to go back to being a baller low-key, I'm fine with him going back to being a baller. But I still need to see Lamar showcase those abilities that he's been doing this year as a passer. If anything, I want to see how Lamar was in week 1 against Kansas City. Because people sit back and say Lamar can't run anymore or all of a sudden. No. Lamar is purposely just choosing not to run. He's reluctant to run. But if you saw him in week 1, when he ran for like 125 and threw for 272 against the Chiefs, oh no, that boy was running. He was lowering his shoulder. I want to see that Lamar Jackson. Week 1 Lamar Jackson against the Chiefs, I need to see him play like that. Where he's just going out there and winning the game by any means necessary. No matter what the circumstance is. Sad to see Deontay Johnson like this. I don't want him back on the Steelers. Doubt the Steelers will take him. If Baltimore cuts him right now, he's going to Kansas City. In the Ravens 5, yeah, I know about this stat. Yep, they lost their 5 losses. They've lost it by a combined total of 22 points. And Justin Tucker's missed kicks add up to 22 points, which is why people are saying Tucker's the main reason we've lost those 5 games. Is Tucker leading the league in field goal misses? I'm pretty sure he is. I'm saying in terms of legends with time coming, Steve Nash is an interesting one. I low-key want to say Chris Paul now. Because Chris Paul right now is just like, buddy, you're going to be in the Hall, man, but you ain't got it anymore. Like, I don't think I've seen anything from Chris Paul with the Spurs that makes me think he's still got... Like it's over. Your chance to win is over, buddy. Just head to the Hall. It's over. Who else other than Chris Paul I can think of? You got to take out some of the people that their careers were impacted by injuries, like was it Brandon Roy? You take him out. It'd be easy to just throw in Derrick Rose, but we take him out due to the injuries. We can't talk about T-Mac due to the injuries. We can't talk about Yao Ming due to the injuries. Yeah, Chris Paul really might be the answer. I'm really thinking like all these legends, like Chris Paul, Paul Pierce, because might be Paul Pierce. The Heat are destroying the Lakers right now. KG might be another one too, because KG with the Nets. Oh yeah, we do the KG with the Nets. You know what? It might have to be KG. It's either CP3 or KG with the Nets. Where we got all those Nets memes. Yeah, KG with the Nets or CP3. One of the two. That's what Justin Tucker is right now. One of the two. Apparently the Heat are destroying the Lakers. Yeah, because Tyler Hero apparently hit like 7 threes in the third quarter. Yeah, the Lakers don't play defense. This is not a surprise. The Heat aren't a great team, but the Lakers don't play defense. Anthony Davis has 8 points. Is Anthony Davis hurt? No, he's played 31 minutes. Okay. Bam, 14. Highsmith, 14. Butler, 17. Tyler Hero, 31. I got to give credit to Tyler Hero. He's been playing well this year. Despite the team being under 500, Tyler Hero has... My favorite team is the Miami Heat. I'm a Miami Heat fan, which is why... Who said it? It was... I'm trying to... remember looking at the stats. Who said it? It was up here. King Trent. He's the one that said it. King Trent is the one that said it. Because he knows I'm a Heat fan, which is why he brought it up. I'm also Heat. What is with y'all? What is with y'all Steelers? Like, how did Steeler fans become Heat fans? This don't make no damn sense. Chisel Adonis is also a Heat fan, but he's also a Steelers fan. How? How do y'all pick Steelers in Miami? What about the Heat? What about the Heat brought y'all? No. This don't make sense. We can't be on the same side basketball-wise and be on different sides football-wise. This make no damn sense. It don't make no damn sense. Why am I seeing all these Steeler fans being Heat fans? It's probably because of Pat Riley. It has to be because of Pat Riley. I mean, I'm there because of D. Wade. I'm there because of D. Wade. Oh my God! If it wasn't for D Wade, I'm probably not a Heat fan. Oh, you're a Clipper fan? Oh, damn! Oh my God! Oh boy! Oh, I don't even know where to start with that, man. Clipper fan. Damn. Clippers fan. It's just... What do you do as a Clippers fan? Like... How do you deal with what's going like I'm trying to put to words what I mean, like as a Clippers fan, how do you do it? Cuz John is a not John, who just said it? Kevin just said he's a Wizards fan. Wizards have never been great. They've never had a 51 season. They've never been great. It's fine. You're used to misery. But the Clippers, you had the Lob City Clippers. You had the Kawhi and PG Clippers. You should have been the team to compete for a title. The opportunities were there. The bubble was there for you. 2021 was there for you before Kawhi went down. 2015 was wide open to the Western Conference Finals, and you blew a 3-1. As a Clippers fan, how do you do it? How do you get tortured like this? Because it's not like your team is bad. You've had rosters that are good enough to compete for a title. Every year, Chris Paul and Blake Griffin alongside DeAndre Johnson. When the Lob City Clippers were together, they had a chance to win a title. But every single damn year, either CP3 or Blake Griffin was hurt. You get a 3-1 lead in 2015. Blow it. And then you get to this situation in 2021 where they had the best chance to win. Kawhi, done. Man posterized. Who the hell did he posterize? It was going up against the Utah Jazz. He posterized somebody who I can't remember who he posterized in that game for. He tweaked something at some point. Somebody bumped knees into him, tweaked something. He does an interview after the game. They talk about his knee. He's fine. He'll be okay. Then the report comes out, Kawhi's out with a knee injury. And then all of a sudden we hear, oh, he's torn part of his ACL or something. Like, how do you do that? How do you, as a Clippers fan, continue to just deal with all of this? I mean, it's just interesting in how Clipper fans can do it. Because if you're a Wizards fan, you're used to garbage. They've always been trash. The few years they've been decent was with John Wall and Bradley Beal. And they had one chance to get to the Eastern Conference Finals and just failed to do so. But with the Clippers, you've had the talent to win it all. And you just can't stay healthy. Oh, God. I'm going to stop. I just, every time someone tells me they're a Clippers fan, I just wonder how you're able to just deal with it. Wizards have made me hate watching basketball. We've been bad for so long. We've been bad the entire existence. Sometimes I'm lying. Damn near. Real fans never abandoned the team. Same way I am about the Ravens. Bandwagon fans annoy me. Bandwagon fans have the fun. They are some of the most relaxed fans in the world. They don't commit themselves to a team. They commit themselves to winning. So they've never got to stress. They are some of the least stressed individuals when it comes to sports. I envy them. Y'all can hate bandwagon fans. I envy them. I envy just looking at a team that you're supporting one day lose and say, let me go join the winning squad. I envy them because you don't have to stress out about this. When your team loses and you're committed to them, you stress out about it. I still have moments. I still have moments when I remember Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years ago. Derek White's game-winning shot. I still remember how I felt that night. Like, they aren't real fans, though. And they're perfectly fine with it. And they're perfectly fine with us real fans having the assessment that bandwagon fans aren't real fans. They're perfectly fine with it. Because we'll stress out when our team loses. They go on to the next team. We raise our blood pressure. Their blood pressure is just fine. I envy them. I'm not going to lie. I've told people this. If you want to get into sports, don't dedicate yourself to a team. Don't do it. It's not worth it. New sports fans, do not dedicate yourself to the game. Don't dedicate yourself to the team. Do not pick a football team and dedicate yourself to it, man. The stress ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. I've been watching since a kid. I can't go away from it. I've been blessed to watch my team win a championship. I've been blessed to watch my team win a championship in the same year. The same year the Ravens won the Super Bowls, the same year the Miami Heat won the championship. 2012 was my favorite year. That 2012-2013 season, best year of my life as a sports fan. Watching the Ravens win the Super Bowl, and then a few months later watching the Heat win the championship, perfect. Love it. Can't win playing alley-oop basketball. Well, I mean, if they could have stayed healthy, maybe they could have done something. But you know how it is. Look at Browns fans; they're very diehard. Yeah. I appreciate being a fan of a team and being diehard for my Ravens and my Heat and all this other stuff. So I appreciate that. But I also have a little bit of envy for the bandwagon fans that don't have to stress out after games, which is why I've been promoting more people to not stress out over these games. Do not let it affect your life. Please. We've seen fans let these losses affect their lives. It's not a good look for them. How are you feeling after the loss against the Eagles? It was expected. It was one of the 5 losses I expected the Ravens to lose. I picked the Eagles as one of those teams they'd potentially lose this year. So I'm not surprised. I wasn't surprised when they lost to Pittsburgh. I wasn't surprised when they lost to Cleveland. I have no expectations of this team, so it's hard for me to be surprised. I'm past the age of just being angry about this team losing games like this. It didn't surprise me in the slightest. Did not surprise me in the slightest. Yeah, last year Kawhi gets hurt in the playoffs out of nowhere. Man, he got hurt in the first round. He played game one and it just disappeared. I think no, sorry, he played game one and game two, I believe, and then just disappeared. Done. From Baltimore, but I live in DC now, so I'm an O's fan and Ravens fan, nice, as well as a Wizards and Caps fan. Lots of disappointment, but also a lot of great seasons. Yep. Agree with that. Well, at least the Capitals were able to win a championship a couple years back. Not gonna see anything like that from the Wizards probably ever. And the Orioles, I don't know if they're gonna get themselves together. It is what it is. They can't enjoy win the way we do, though. I don't think they care. No, I don't think they care. They just like winning. They don't have to enjoy it the way we do. They'll still enjoy it. I'm not sure if bandwagon fans really care. As long as they get to watch the team they're bandwagoning win, they don't care. Yep, I've seen the Ravens win 2 Super Bowls. It's amazing. Hey, I'm again, as much as we cry and complain about the Ravens and stuff, I can at least say I'm one of those fan bases that got to see my team win a championship. Like Cincinnati tries to pump up their chest for getting to the Super Bowl a few years back, but not winning it doesn't do anything for you. That 2021 season was the best season the Bengals have had since the 80s. The 80s. That Super Bowl run was the best season the Bengals have had since the 80s, and they didn't even win it. When you're a franchise that's never won a chip, it's got to be painful to deal with. Last year in the NFC title game, watching Detroit blow it that way has to be the most painful loss, or one of the most painful losses in franchise history, because you felt Detroit was getting to the Super Bowl, something they've never done before, and they blew it. And now this year's team, you pray they get there. And if they don't get there, it'll be another painful season or painful end to add to the Lions franchise history. Never won a ring. Browns never won a ring. When these teams haven't won a ring, it's so painful to deal with. You're used to, but it's so painful to deal with. I've at least watched my team win a Super Bowl. So I can't be like those fans that have been rooting for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and they never seen their team win a championship. I can't be like that, because I've seen my teams win a championship. I watched my football team win a championship. I watched my basketball team win a championship. I watched my baseball team win a championship. I watched my soccer team win a championship. So I can't be sitting here saying I've never seen my teams win a championship. I have. For all the sports I've watched for the most part. So I'm not one of those fans that have not seen that. Dude, just this year, the Dodgers won the World Series. A decade of dominance followed by choking in the playoffs. Finally erased. They won the World Series. Got it done. I became a fan. Who's my baseball team? The Dodgers. I became a fan I started watching the Dodgers around 2017. So I remember those World Series losses they were suffering. I remember the choking performances in the playoffs. I remember them dominating the regular season and then choking in the playoffs. And everyone sitting back and looking at this team saying, you've invested so much, brought these star players in, and you still can't get over the hump. I remember the World Series losses. I remember the one and done moments in the divisional round. I remember last year. What was it, in the NLCS? Where they literally got swept. I remember last year with Mookie and Freddie Freeman in 3 games, 1 hit combined. No, I remember those years. I've watched Liverpool win the Premier League. I've watched the Dodgers win the World Series. I've watched the Miami Heat win the championship, and I've watched the Ravens win a Super Bowl. I'm not one of those fans that has not seen their team win a title. I've been blessed to see all my teams win a title. I want to see them keep winning, but I've at least been blessed to see them win. So I'm not one of those fans that hasn't seen their team win, which is why when it comes to those fans, I really got to applaud you. Because some of these fans have been watching for 50 years, their team still hasn't won. There are Lions fans that are enjoying what they're seeing over these last 2 years. They've been fans for 40 plus years. These are the 2 best seasons they've ever seen. At least the Ravens are always in the run for the Super Bowl. Every season has been extremely exciting. Yeah, at least it's somewhat exciting. Hope your Thanksgiving was great. You too, you too, loyal. You too, man. Y'all need a new kicker because this kicker is not going to help you in the playoffs against the Chiefs. It came down, if it comes down to it. Yeah, Tucker. Conversations need to be made about Tucker. Detroit is coming back against the Celtics. Cool. I still think the Celtics are going to win that game. I'm blessed to see Lakers, Steelers, Braves, and Ohio State win at least one championship. True that. True that. At least, I feel especially bad for the Bills. The Bills are my local team, so it's pretty bad they haven't won anything. They watched their team go to 4 straight Super Bowls and come away with nothing. That's painful. That's absolutely painful. At least you got to see your team win the championship. I got to sit here and watch my team lose in the first round. Ain't nothing changing, buddy. Ain't nothing changing with the Wizards, unfortunately. That's just how it is. MLB is so underrated. The issue with the sport is that there's so many games. It's hard to have the time to watch them consistently. Well, it's not even just about the amount of games. It's about the games and the time they play. Like, a lot of times you'll see these baseball games play. Sometimes you'll even realize this. Baseball plays at any time. Baseball can play at like 1 in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon, 8 in the afternoon. Matter of fact, some of y'all who don't even watch baseball, you understand you can play baseball like there could be 2 games in the same day. You can play the same opponent twice in the same day. Like, there are 2 baseball games with the 2 same teams. They could play the first game, take a break, and then play the second game on the very same day. They have a crap ton of games to go through. And sometimes, it's not even just back-to-backs. With basketball, you can get back-to-backs. Like, you played yesterday, you played today, you can play tomorrow. In baseball, no. You played 1 p.m., you can play again around 7 p.m. They have 100-plus games they're playing. You got to get these games out. They start in the spring, and then come October, playoff time. Well, September, October-ish. So yeah, you could play the same games on the same day against the same opponent. You can watch your team get smacked at 1 p.m. If you have a bad team, you can watch your team get smacked at 1 p.m. and then watch your team get smacked at 7 p.m. again. It's just like, come on, man. I'm telling you, it's so weird with baseball. It's chaotic, man. But the sport, with the way the sport is played, you are able to actually, it is possible for them to play back-to-back games like that. I'm surprised you're not an Orioles fan since they are in Baltimore too. I didn't grow up. The Dodgers are the ones that really introduced me to baseball. When I started watching baseball, the Dodgers were the one team I was watching. So, I'm not from Baltimore, but I do see the Orioles, and it's like I show love and support to them. Like I do with all the teams in Baltimore, both in Baltimore and DC. I show all the supports, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily my teams. Like, I show love and support to the Nationals. I show love and support to the Capitals. But those aren't my teams. So, yeah. But, yeah, the Dodgers are the ones that I was first watching when I got into baseball. So that's the team I ended up picking. Why can't Lamar just throw up F-balls and say Flowers? Because he'll get picked off 20 million times. If that's why I root for the Orioles, but it's so hard to watch them all. They play crazy at times of the day. Yeah. They play at random times. Luckily for me as a Dodgers fan, most of the time Dodgers games are going to be at night in the East Coast. Because it'll be like 8 p.m. where it's played in the East Coast, but it'll be like 5 in the afternoon over there. So it works for me watching the Dodgers play. Because they're a West Coast team, so they get to play at later times. Yeah, and they changed the times right now. You can play at 12 or 6 p.m. It's so crazy when you can play. Like, I'll be checking. I'm like, all right, so when are we going to play this? When's this first game start? What do you mean this first game starts at 12:05? What? I thought it said 1 o'clock. No, 12 o'clock? Okay, so we're just going to play at 12 p.m. today. All right, cool. Do you watch college sports? Yeah, I do keep up with college football. I do keep up with college football for the most part. I've been watching it the last few years. Lakers lost 134-93. Our GM needs to get fired. Yeah, if you're losing to us that badly, y'all need to reevaluate yourself because the Heat aren't a great team right now. We shouldn't be blowing out any team. If y'all lost that badly to us, reevaluate your team. LeBron had 29 points, and y'all lost. Anthony Davis finishing the game with 8 points is crazy. So let's look at this. Bam had 14. Haywood Highsmith had 14. Jimmy Butler with 17. 31 for Tyler Hero. Terry Rozier with 16. Kevin Love with 10. Like, come on. Jaime Jaquez had 9 points. Yeah, everybody that played except Kashad Johnson scored. Thomas Bryant, 8 points. Drew Smith, 3. Kevin Love, 10. Jaime Jaquez, 9. 5 points for Pell Larson. Terry Rozier, 16. Tyler Hero, 31. Duncan Robinson, 17. Duncan Robinson, 7. Jimmy Butler, 17. Haywood Highsmith, 14. Bam Adebayo, 14. I mean, come on, guys. What are y'all doing? The Lakers don't play defense. Y'all don't play defense. Y'all don't play defense. I mean, it's easy to say your GM needs to be fired because I think he hasn't done a great job in putting the proper talent needed to win. But you guys also don't play defense. You don't play defense. You think you're going to win at the high level consistently if you don't play defense? Y'all don't play defense. The Lakers don't play defense. Y'all don't play defense. So when you don't play defense, this is what you're going to get. If that guy would have did a helmet hit on Patrick Mahomes, he'd be banned for life. Who knows? Maybe. What made you a Ravens fan? I'm where I'm from. I'm from the. I live in Maryland. I'm closer to the D.C. area than the Baltimore area, but I live in Maryland, and I watched both the Ravens and the Commanders growing up. I actually got my Ravens hat right now, and I got my Commanders hat right here. Yeah, so I was like right here. You can see it. I got my Commanders hat right here. So I'm wearing my Ravens hat. I got my Commanders hat right here. I have my Ravens jersey. Right here. I didn't wear it for the video. So I got my Ravens hat on. I got my Commanders hat right here. I got my Ravens jersey. In fact, I got a Lamar Jackson jersey right here. And right now, I'm wearing a Washington Commanders shirt. So I grew up watching both teams. I show love and support to both teams, but I ended up leaning towards the Ravens because I ended up making a choice around 2004, 2005. I made a choice because of two reasons. One, Ed Reed was my favorite player to watch, and two, I ended up getting a Deion Sanders jersey. So because I got that Deion Sanders jersey, I just leaned more towards the Ravens. Who knows? If I would have ended up getting a Sean Taylor jersey, I'd probably be more of a Commanders fan now than a Ravens. But like, it came to those two things. Ed Reed was my favorite player to watch, and I ended up getting a Deion Sanders jersey. So those two factors caused me to lean more towards the Ravens, and that ended up being my team. But I always show love and support with the Commanders. So, I root for both teams. But my number one team is the Ravens. That number one squad right behind them is the Commanders. And I've always said if the Ravens and Commanders play a Super Bowl game, I would just sit there as a neutral party. Same with my family. My family, we're like a combined mix of like Ravens and Commanders fans. So it would really just be a neutral party. I would be hurt for one side and I'd be elated for the other side. And I really don't know how that would go. When the Ravens and Commanders played this year, if you were there for the stream, there was no anger, there was no frustration. I watched what happened and reacted to it. I was cheering and talking about it. It was such a weird stream because there was no anger, no animosity. And people were asking me, like, why am I acting this way towards the Commanders? For people that don't know my story. So it was just such a chill stream. If the Ravens and the Commanders end up getting to the Super Bowl matching up against each other, that would probably be one of the most calmest times in terms of watching a game. And at the end of the day, that would be seen as a victory no matter how it goes. Either Jaden Daniels delivers a title to the Commanders and brings back the reputation of this franchise, or Lamar Jackson gets his first title. So, like, I would be fine with either or. Did you hear Dak say Mike deserves a contract? Good for Dak. Good for Dak. I got love for the Skins too. Hated the organization while under Snyder, but my grandma was a huge Skins fan, so it's always been love. Well, thankfully Snyder's gone, and a year removed from Snyder being gone, the franchise has done so much and has improved so much more compared to back then. So it's all good. But anyway, guys, I've been here for an hour and a half. We've already talked about the Deontay Johnson situation and everything's going on with the Ravens. We'll be speaking more about the Ravens and all this other stuff in the coming weeks. Like I said, the Ravens are on a bye week, so we have plenty of time to talk more Ravens. And we'll be doing that throughout the week. But I'm going to end it here. I only wanted to stay for an hour. I gave you guys an extra half hour, honestly. Didn't expect it. Every time I say I want to stay for 30 minutes or an hour, I end up staying for 90 minutes or even 2 hours. So, the conversation just continues to go on and on. It's just how it is. Okay, why did my... Oh, no! It's like, what happened that made everything change? It is what it is. We're all good. We're getting ready to head out anyway. So, yeah, that's pretty much it from me here today. That's all I wanted to say on the Ravens. Obviously, we will continue to monitor the situation as more and more information comes out about the Ravens. And as the bye week hits, because we are in the bye week, we'll see what the Ravens do in these changes. This is going to be an interesting week for me. I'm not really working in the weekends. The Commanders have a bye week and the Ravens have a bye week. So I'm sitting here and contemplating which game I'm going to end up streaming. And right now it looks like Sunday Night Football is going to be the game I'm going to stream on Sunday. Because I'm looking at it for week 14. First of all, Packers-Lions on Thursday Night Football. Y'all might see me tomorrow. I might actually pull up for the Packers-Lions. That's a good-ass game. Excuse my language. I legitimately might stream tomorrow Packers-Lions for Thursday Night Football. Not going to promise it. Not going to guarantee it. But I may. Because, again, I'm coming from work. I don't even know how my mood's going to be. Let's see. First of all, I don't even know when I'm going to get off from work. Secondly, I don't know how my level of fatigue is going to be. But if I'm in good condition, if I'm in good spirits, I'm streaming the Packers-Lions game tomorrow. Browns-Steelers, I'm not streaming that. I don't care. Hopefully the Browns win, but who cares? Saints-Giants, nope. Jets-Dolphins, no. Jaguars-Titans, hell no. Falcons-Vikings, nope. Panthers-Eagles, hell no. Raiders-Bucks, nah. Seahawks-Cardinals actually is a pretty good game because that's determining the NFC West right now. Bears-Niners, no. Bills-Rams, no. Chargers-Chiefs on Sunday Night Football looks to be the game. Chargers-Chiefs on Sunday Night Football looks to be the game. So we got two really good matchups. You might see me Thursday. You might see me tomorrow night for the Packers-Lions game, and you might see me Sunday night for the Chargers and the Chiefs game. So I can't guarantee that, but be on the lookout in case I do stream those games. With that being said, guys, that is all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for pulling up to the stream. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the love and support. And that's pretty much it for me. I will be seeing you guys later. Be sure to stay safe and peace out.